I want to discuss because I heard somebody earlier say, and it's not just this one person. I heard this a lot. Like this is a sentiment around the black community. I heard a guy say he was struggling and he was in the street struggling, and I that just don't I can't relate to that. It doesn't make any sense. Cause how you a street nigga? How you a struggling street nigga? That don't make any sense. Street niggas don't struggle. You might struggle for a minute or two, but that's not an ongoing thing. That's why you in the streets, so you ain't struggling. That's kind of like the whole point. So I hate when people be saying they was in the streets, but they were broke and struggling. So that means you wasn't really in the streets then. I mean, you lying, you capping. You wasn't in those streets, cause you was in the streets, you wouldn't be poor. You know what I'm saying? You have money. When I was in the streets, I had money. I I had more money in the streets than I've ever had. So I can't relate to somebody saying they in the streets struggling. That mean you ain't in the streets then. That mean you just a goofy, claiming to be in the streets and all that. You're not really no street cat like that because a street cat gonna get some money. That's the point. That's the whole point of even being in the street. So if you was in the streets 20, 30 years, 10 years, however long you was in the street, and you never really made no real money, was you actually a street nigga for real? Cause I don't know. I be hearing people relate how people try to relate the streets to being poor, and I get it. It being poor can drive you to doing some street shit because you just need some money. Like fuck it, I'm finna go and sell these drugs. I'm finna go and do whatever the fuck. So I get how it can kind of drive you into doing some street shit, but once you dedicate yourself to being a street cat, a street nigga, you shouldn't be poor that much longer. If you done dedicate your life to being street and you still poor, you in the wrong occupation. You're not really a street cat like that. Cause a street cat gonna go get some street money. That's the whole point. When I was in the streets doing my drug dealing and all that, I had a house and two apartments. I had three cars, a house, big ass house, two apartments, three cars, and I had like 2, 3 hotel rooms on any given day. So I can't relate. I ain't never been, and even before I had made it up to that level, I was still getting money. Even when I was in the poor stage, well, I ain't say poor, but even when I was in the lower level stage of the streets, I was riding around in rental cars and shit. The premium rental car, not the little, $9 a day. No, I'm riding around in lax, cat brand new ass lax for years. This is for years I did this, riding around in brand new ass lax, moving drugs around the city, brand new ass lax, rental cars. So I'm paying the high for these hoes. And I barely just jumped off the porch. That's what I'm saying. How was you? That's why I don't understand how you a street nigga, a poor street nigga. That's not a thing. If you a poor street nigga, that mean you not really a street nigga for real. That's what I'm saying. Cause that don't make sense. So what are you doing exactly in the okay? So you poor, right? You go to the streets. What are you doing in the streets that's you just keep staying poor? That's cause at some point, unless you go to jail right off top, at some point it's gonna build up to where you're not poor no more. So basically y'all saying y'all was struggling in the streets, I mean y'all never I don't get that. I don't see how those two things conflate, being poor and being in the streets. Cause everybody that I knew that was really in the streets for real, we was all getting money. So I don't understand. I don't get that. So you in the streets and you poor struggling. Now I get it. Don't get it twisted. It's just like any business. You're gonna go through a phase where you're poor struggling. But I'm saying that's not just a general thing for the street cats. Just just in general, most street cats that's calling themselves street cats or gangsters or whatever you want to call it, They getting money in some fashion. Not necessarily, it might not be $1 million, might not be hundreds of thousands, but they getting money. They not poor. They not walking around poor. They got a couple bands in their pocket. They got a couple bands in the stash. They got this. They got that. That's the real street niggas. So all these other cats talking about how they poor and they was in the street, but they was struggling. They was poor. That ain't real. They faking it. That's fake because you're not gonna be poor that long. That's what I'm saying. You're not gonna be poor that long. You might be poor till you flip about 3, 4 times, 5, 6 times or whatever. Man, you're not poor no more. That's how it actually works. So I don't believe these niggas. This internet kind of ruined a lot of shit for me. Cause now I look at a lot of these niggas different. Like these niggas is some goofy, but it kind of powered me up though. Made me feel like a Superman or something. I feel like Superman around this bitch. Cause when I'm listening to y'all stories and y'all little bullshit, y'all shit sound weak in the hoe. I ain't gonna even lie. Y'all sound like y'all was broke in the streets. Y'all, y'all shit sound weak, bro. Y'all was doing a bunch of goofy shit. Y'all went to the pen for some goofy shit. Y'all little street careers that y'all be talking about on here sound goofy. Y'all wasn't making no money. It just don't sound like you was winning at any point. And me personally, I just don't see the point of being in the streets if I ain't never winning. So I was never winning at no given point. But I'm in the streets just wholeheartedly. I'm claiming the streets. I'm cheerleading for the streets. All this type of shit. But I ain't never had 10 bands at one time of street money. So that's I don't know. I just heard a cat saying that earlier and I wanted to speak on it. I heard a nigga saying when you in the streets you be struggling. It's a struggle thing. And I heard a lot of people saying that when they talk about the streets. Like it's some type of struggle thing or something. It's a struggle thing because you a struggler. The people that I know that I was dealing with in the street, we was all getting money. You know what I'm saying? We was all getting money. Even the ones of us that wasn't getting that much money, they was still getting some money to where they wasn't poor. You see what I'm saying? So I can't relate to that. Is you a gangster or you super hard or you this and that because you was poor. To me, it's the opposite. To me, the more money you get out the street to make you more gangster. You more this, you more that. Not you have less and you more. That don't make no sense. So I'm a broke ass street nigga. I ain't never made no money on the street, but I'm the hardest gangster street nigga. That don't make no sense. Y'all ain't thinking. That's a cornball. Anybody could pick up a gun and just go do violence. That don't take no type of thought or no type of hustle or nothing. You know what I'm saying? A baby could do that. There's been 3-year-old babies that done picked up somebody's gun and shot them. That's happened before. So that's nothing. So people be hanging their hat on, well, I got bodies or I got hats and I'm this and I'm that. That ain't real, bro. You was broke when you was in the streets. It don't matter how many you got bodies because you was hating. You was in the street, you was a hater. That's where your bodies and all that came from. You was hating. You wasn't. That ain't real, bro. I'm just telling you from a real perspective, from a real street cat. Ain't nobody gonna even dispute. You ain't gonna ever hear nobody come on the internet and dispute the fact that I'm a real or that I was a real street nigga, a real gangster. Nobody's gonna dispute it. Not in my city. They not gonna dispute it. So I'm saying that to say I got a right to speak on this shit. And me speaking on it, I'm saying y'all some weenies. If you was poor in the streets, you a goofy. You should have got a job. Why was you even in the streets then? You should have just went and got a job at a warehouse or wherever the fuck. Got your money like that and did it like that. Instead of trying to claim you a street nigga and all that, you wasn't never doing no street shit. I ain't going. Y'all ain't gonna convince me of none of the goofy shit. You can't. Cause I was in the streets for 15, 20 years. So you can't come to me with no flawed shit, and I ain't gonna peep it. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of you niggas on here be talking that street shit. Y'all shit is flawed. Y'all was broken. Y'all was just poor. Stop mixing the being poor with being in the streets. Y'all conflating the two. Now, like I say, being in the streets, being poor can push you to doing some street shit. Because you tired of being poor, you want to have this, you gonna go do. You ain't gotta fill out no application, do no street shit. You ain't gotta fucking get a second interview and all this type of shit. So a lot of people they gonna do the street shit because that's a quick buck. But what I'm saying is that ain't real. You saying you was a street nigga and all that though, for real. Cause you not. That's why I get tired of these niggas saying this and ripping the streets and all that. You ain't even no street nigga like that. Like stop already. It's not you just stop. You could have been the most shootingest nigga on the planet. Yeah, nigga, I shot 1,000,000 niggas. That don't make you a gangster. That make you a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you a serial killer, bro. You ain't no gangster. You mentally insane. If you just run around catching hats every day, you talking about that's why you gangster. Nah, violence ain't even necessarily gangster. A gangster don't even really let me tell you, clown, something. A real motherfucking gangster don't even want no violence to go on. They don't want any violence to go on. Because a real motherfucking gangster know that once the violence happen, that's when the feds get to sniffling and sniffing and scratching and shit. Every real gangster know that. That when you start catching hats and bodies and your little young niggas start peeling niggas' caps back and all this type of shit, now the feds are watching. Now they want to know what you got going on. Now they sniffing your bum. They want to know what you got going on. So the real gangsters is out there moving this and moving that and doing this and doing that. That's the last thing they want is a body or a hat or any of this type of shit. That's the last thing they want. That's gonna slow down production. It's gonna slow down the money. That's gonna spend money on lawyers, on bail bonds. You gonna fuck off the business. So that's not even real when these niggas be talking about I'm catching hats and this, that, and the third. I'm not saying it ain't real that you ain't out there jumping up, crashing out. I'm saying that ain't real that that's some gangster shit. It's not. If you catching hats and you doing all this goofy shit, but it ain't attached to no type of money making organization, you just out here doing dumb shit behind music or whatever, that ain't gangster. You's a goofy. And you might fuck around and be a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? You might just be a serial killer and they just ain't calling yourself that. But you just got bloodlust. That ain't bloodlust ain't gangster. That y'all mixing the shit up. Gangsters get money, bro. They don't fucking go out and just try to see how many murders they can commit. You know what I'm saying? That sounds stupid. That sounds dumb as hell. I don't know. Every nigga that I knew in the streets that was calling himself a gangster was not dumb. These are smart ass niggas. So niggas ain't gonna be doing no dumb ass shit. That's dummies and you niggas is thugs. Y'all thugging. That's all y'all need to quit saying the word gang. I'm tired of y'all associating the word gangster with yourselves. Stop. You thugging. That's what you doing. You thugging. Stop with the gangster talk. You was poor, you not a gangster, bro. You not. You was in the streets poor, you not hood. You may be hood, but you not gangster. Gangster is selling drugs, pimping hoes. Oh, you got to organ the gang, the mafia and all that. They 100% were pimping hoes. They had brothels all over the city. They were selling drugs. They was taking merchandise. That's gangster. The killing and all that. That's like uh ricochet. That ain't the direct. And I mean, unless you taking hits, that's not the direct gangster thing. That's fallout. That's shit that happens from when shit don't go right. That's what the killing and all that is. That's not the gangster shit. The killing ain't the gangster shit. The making the money, selling the drugs, pimping the hoes and all that. That's the gangster shit. The killing is what happens when the gangster shit don't go as planned. You know what I'm saying? That's when the killing and all that come into play. But the real gangsters don't even want none of that to ever go into play. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. It ain't that y'all done changed it. That's all these rappers and all this goofy shit. They try to change it to mean something that it ain't. Try to make it seem like even if you just go back in time, let's just go back and let's not even just talk about the black gangsters. Let's go back in time. Let's talk about the Italian gangsters. They didn't kill for nothing. They had to have a whole meetings and shit about the shit. They before they whacked the motherfucker, they had a whole meeting. Both families would sit down and say, "Hold up, now we need to see what's happening. Does this motherfucker right here? Did they do something that they deserve to get whacked? They wouldn't. They didn't like to kill motherfuckers. I mean, I'm sure they probably had a few motherfuckers that was just fucking serial killers. That's in every organization. You gonna have a few serial killers. But I'm saying for the most part, that ain't what they standing on is killing. They standing on making money. And if you play with the money, then you in the lane of the killing. But they not standing on the killing. The killing just something that's gonna happen to your ass if you play with the money. It's the money that they standing on. That's the gangster shit. Y'all got it twisted. Y'all. That's why I be knowing y'all ain't. That's why when I listen to y'all talk, I be like, these niggas ain't even no real. They just talking and shit. They ain't even never really been in the streets on no real gangster shit for real. They just saying any goddamn thing, sound cool and shit, repeating what they heard on the internet and shit. Because killing is not gangster, bro. It's never been. Killing is a demonstration. Killing is a get back. Killing is discipline. That ain't had nothing to do with the gangster shit. I mean, does have something to do with it. But what I'm saying, it's not just the gangster shit. You can get your ass killed. Killing is just that ain't something that just happened in the gangster realm. People, civilian people kill each other every day. Husband and wives get into it, kill each other. Brothers and sisters, friends, people kill each other. Killing is not gangster. Killing is a problem, even in the gangster world. That's not something that motherfuckers be wanting to happen. You want a successful. This is what a successful gangster career look like. You made a whole bunch of motherfucking money. You didn't have to do no time in the pen, and you didn't have to catch no bodies. That's a successful gangster career. If you was a gangster, you caught 10 bodies. You didn't make no money, but you caught 10 bodies. Your gangster career is weak as hell. You lost. Now you facing all kind of time. You you ain't really make no money, so you wasn't really getting no hoes for real. You didn't really live no fun gangster life or nothing. You was always on the run because you steady catching hats. You steady doing all this murder and violence and shit. So you steady got motherfuckers trying to on your back. Other factions and shit want you dead. That's not a successful gangster career, my nigga. That ain't successful, bro. That you lost. Then when you go to jail, the people they telling on you. You getting told on. You're telling and getting told on. You're telling, getting told on. That ain't successful, bro. You lost in life. You 100% lost in life, and that wasn't gangster. No. These niggas don't be making a dime. Nigga ain't made a dime in Chinese money. Nigga ain't made a peso. Nigga ain't never made a peso. But he talking about he a street cat. You know what I'm saying? Ain't never made a peso out the streets. A peso is like a goddamn me point 0.000000000000001 of a cent. You ain't made that. Talking about you a street nigga. I said, fuck out of here with this bullshit, man. It's offensive. And I'm not even out here trying to glorify the gangster shit and street shit. It's offensive when you goofy niggas talk about the shit. Cause y'all be talking about it as if y'all know what y'all talking about and all that. And I be sitting there listening to these niggas like, these niggas really don't know what the fuck they talking about. They just saying any goddamn thing, trying to sound cool and shit. But yeah, I'm finna get off here on the cool. I'm gonna jump back on this hoe in a minute though. I just want to get that off right quick. I'm gonna start jumping on this hoe whenever I need to get something off. know what I'm saying? Just get it off on here. Fuck it. It's Amadi Media. I'm out.